Assalamualaikum and a very good day. I bid to Madam Karunisa. My name is Alia Majdina Binti Mansor, a practical teacher at SK Betau, Kuala Lumpur. Currently, I am teaching a Year 4 Amanah for English subject. And today, I am going to present my Refleksi Pertengahan Praktikum. First of all, I would like to share some of the background of the school and my students. This is an indigenous school located in Kuala Lumpur. The community that attend the school is orang asli Semai, and in comparison to me, they had used tribe language, which is Semai, and had minimal to maybe average command of Malay. They also had different culture and practice different lifestyle than most of us. So at first, it is quite a challenge for me to be able to adapt in a new culture and community that I knew very little about. But eventually, I think it is a good experience since I need to learn on how to teach outside my comfort zone. So here are the content of my presentations. First, I will talk about the existing knowledge and experiences that I got as a student and how those aspects helped me during my practicums. Second, I will focus on the acquired knowledge and skills that I deem important as I go through my practicums. Third, I shall share on some innovation that I have achieved at school that could be a very good indication on how indigenous people may learn better. And lastly, I will give some comments and overall reflections for this mid-practical reflection. Let's proceed with the first element, existing knowledge and experiences, which focusing on the humanistic approach towards the students. Our education system is gearing up to achieve the best result for each year, and as a matter of fact, we put values on students as a statistic. For example, the percentage of students who got straight A's, number of students that pass and fail each subject, and maybe the schools or students with the best or the highest CGPAs. Those are among the topics that we usually care about. This is why I think that the humanistic approach that we learn at IPG was actually one of the best approach that I can use in the schools, because I think that people rarely pay attention to the students. We tend to forget that they're also humans, not just an object of comparison. So it is crucial to note that the students came from various backgrounds with full of diverse story. Thus, as a teachers, we cannot expect them to be the same once they enter the schools. So at the right side of the slide, you can see the pyramid, a Maslow hierarchy of needs. So all those needs need to be fulfilled in order for the students to learn. So my students, the indigenous students in this context, has a lot of unfulfilled needs. So which is why I believe on this simple premise. You can't do the Bloom stuff until you take care of the Maslow stuff. This Maslow hierarchy of needs is based on a simple premise. Human beings have needs that are hierarchically ranked. There are some needs that are basic to all human beings, and in their absence, nothing else matters. Thus, by applying the theory that I knew, I believe that I should emphasize more on these two aspects, emotional needs and also inquiry-based learning. So the major focus of a humanistic approach is the development of the whole student with an emphasis on emotional aspect of the students. So when our fundamental needs as a human are not fulfilled, we might act out. For example, like when someone is hungry, they may get grumpy and act out. But we might be like angry at those kind of students, but let's say that we knew life could be harsh on the student. But if I treat my student, the young peoples, well and ensure that all their needs are cared for, they will be able to focus on being good, well-rounded, and fulfilled human being. Next, for the inquiry-based learning, curriculums, I think for this kind of school should be used just as a guide, not fully relying on it. Because they are obviously way behind on the academic achievement. And focusing too much on completing the curriculum would put them into a discouraging positions. So as maybe as the consequences, they might give up on learning uh, because we force them to learn or behave to follow a certain standard. I think sometimes we were too focused on producing the doctors, teachers, police, and those high profile career that we probably forget that the student could be more than that. Next, I will present on the acquired knowledge and skills. The one that I frequently apply is the use of song for edutainment purposes. It's common practice in any school, but it is greatly helps my student in many aspects. Incorporating music into any class can be a great way to teach content because it doesn't take any special training or expensive resources. And as for me, I did not apply it as a teaching tool here. It's more like an assistant tools for me to help in these two aspects, which is the discipline and also the motivations. Because after school reopened during the COVID pandemic, there are a lot of XOP to be followed. We as a teachers become the frontliner in making sure that the school is safe. However, SOP compliance on the student side is not that easy because we know that a classroom is a great place for learning, but sitting at a desk only can make school start to seem a bit dull for some students. So when they get bored, they will start moving around and try to play with their friends. This kind of behavior is quite a concern because with all the SOP things, a student can be seen to be getting some motivation issues because they started to become demotivated, uninterested, and sometimes passive during the lessons. So playing songs such as nursery rhymes, Disney animation soundtrack, and some spiritual songs during the lesson can greatly help me in controlling these two aspects. The student really enjoy singing and dancing, entertainment at large. It was in their culture. So in their culture, they have a lot of use of song and dancing. So using that to my advantage, I play some songs at the end of my lesson, usually while they were completing the task for that lesson. So by playing the song, they somehow got attracted by mumbling on the song beats. After a few replays, they managed to sing the song, although not perfectly, but still applaudable. Because I did not teach them the song directly, they just somehow pick it up. Every melody, really lyrics by their own while completing the task. So during these sessions, they just sat at their own desk without moving elsewhere, or else they know that they will miss the song. It also motivated them to finish their task since I promised them to teach them singing if they manage to complete the task given. I think this is also one of my efforts to give them more exposure in English language since English is only available at school settings. They had minimal to none interaction in English language at homes. I think the whole thing is that it's just a simple thing to do, but it helped improve a lot of aspects. Now, we've come to innovation, which focusing on rewards and involvement. Reopening the schools during the pandemic involved lots of safety measures to be followed by the students and as well as the teachers. Essentially, the children have to endure being confined in the classroom for everyday lessons. And the students are expected to sit on chairs, write on desks, and behave without having any physical contact with their friends. So this kind of scenario had actually given impact on the teaching and learning process. Because as a teacher, actually, I love giving tasks for the students to work in groups. But now, the approach must be adjusted so that it is aligned with the SOP. So I tried to create a reward system called train conductor, where each line in class represents a train because it looks like a train. And for each lesson, there will be marks to be given for their maybe class involvement, behaviors, or any appropriate aspect. So those accumulated marks will be counted on Friday every week by the train conductor, or else known as the team leaders. But as the conductor rules, it's going to change according to the person who achieved the highest mark for the week. So this is the kind of social interactions can actually get the student excited about things in the classrooms, so they can help to motivate each other to reach the goals. And I realize that many students will find it fun to try to contribute and getting acknowledged for their contributions. This also helps them to boost like their confidence and also self-esteem. As an indigenous learner, they actually require more supplementary mediums to aid their English language learning process. And I think by enhancing the highly immersive program, HIT programs, which was introduced by the Ministry of Education to create a highly immersive language-based environments that promote the use of English, could be one of the solutions. Actually, this program is already being implemented in the schools. It's just that some of the activities in the programs, such as Speaker Corner, is not implemented. So I try to do these activities at schools with the students, and I totally think that it is a big achievement, considering that the nature of the student themselves, they are quite shy and doesn't really like to stand out in public. They are, in other words, that they are very reserved persons. So, but this program was conducted every week during the morning ceremony on Mondays. So when they saw their friends trying these activities, they started to enjoy more in English content, like singing, action songs, storytelling, and any suitable contents. Uh, they had different reactions when English was taught in class and when it was acquired subconsciously. The student, they totally reacted differently when in class because somehow they enjoyed the English during this corner. So this proved that instead of forcing them to learn English, us as a teacher could bring the language to the student themselves. So as a result, students will have a positive attitude toward learning and mastering English language. And overall, they managed to increase the overall proficiency of the language itself. The best part of this program is that some of the students volunteer themselves to join the activities. At the early stage of the speaker corner activity, usually I would choose the presenter, but now they came forward and wanted to perform on their own. It is surely a great improvement by the students. Now, we've come to the last aspect of today's presentations, the comment and reflection sections. Here, I truly believe that being a teacher is not just simply teaching the students on their academics, but it took more than that to be a great teacher. So I'm going to share on some of my personal views teaching at indigenous schools. I think it is a fact that teachers in indigenous schools face a special challenge in terms of learning, creating, and also applying teaching methods that can respond to the specific learning styles and needs of indigenous community. We don't know much about their community, so teaching them like the mainstream students won't work on them. So we need to find ways that can be a good approach for them to understand how academic actually a very important aspect in their life. They need to have that kind of exposure first before they can go to class and learn. And the second one is on the training process for the teachers. As I said before, the teachers are not used to this new culture. We don't have anyone to train us on how this kind of pedagogy could work on the students. We need to find and fit them with our students. So I think the method that we use need to be continuously assessed, evaluated, and maybe redefined with the participation of the students, their parents, and the community. We want to teach them, so we can't usually relying on ourselves only. So we need to ask them what is wrong because they know what is the best for them. I think this also requires teachers to engage in any continuous training process to enable them to use and develop appropriate teaching methods. I think that's for my personal view. So that is all for my presentation for today. So thank you for listening.